So I've just created this new channel on YouTube. Um, I'm not really planning to build a brand or win subscribers or followers or whatever. I just need an outlet. No one gives a crap what I have to say on Facebook, on my Facebook. I guess people just want to see, normal everyday stuff, not political stuff. So I've just moved over here. I was on Twitter, had a reasonably good following, lost that, started again. Then Elon Musk, who is literally taken out of a badly written knockoff of a James Bond novel. He looks like a supervillain. He has the backstory of a supervillain. He acts like a supervillain. After he took over Twitter, which I will not be calling X, I left because I think he is a monster, a fascist, truly evil, and now increasingly deranged and unhinged man. I use the term man loosely, everything else I subscribe to strongly. And so I've got no outlet. And I'm so incredibly angry, outraged, disgusted, sickened by America. And I just need somewhere to vent, basically. So I'm going to be on here, probably occasionally venting. I'm not going to swear as much as I would like. Obviously, I've got to watch myself a little bit. I've looked through the terms and conditions of YouTube, so you can't be truly uncensored on any platform. I understand that that's completely fine, so I will censor myself a little bit. Just let it be known I would like to swear a lot more than I'm going to. And even when I'm being quite strong, I probably would like to be stronger. So, I thought that America had a chance. Well, I mean, America did have a chance in a sense to actually start to move forward and begin to live up to the ideals they have claimed to live up to in the Constitution since they were founded. But in reality, there was no chance that Kamala or the Democrats or anybody other than Trump could win this election. And all the people now are going back and playing the retrospective hindsight blame game. I can see some room for improvements too, and I'm going to mention some of those things, but I would like to make absolutely clear, I don't believe that if Biden had run, he would have won either. I don't think if the Democrats had decided, if Biden had announced, I'm going to be a one-term president, I'm too old, we want a new generation, and the Democrats had had a primary and picked someone else and strategically not picked Kamala. Let's say they strategically picked a younger white man who is straight and then put that white man a female running mate again. So you've got a white man, but he's much younger than Trump, and the running mate is it could have been Kamala. Why not? Although it would have been best for it not to be Kamala, just to dissociate from the Biden administration because of all the propaganda saying what a terrible job he did, when in fact he did an extremely good job in most respects. Although his legacy, in my opinion now, will be his abject failure to appoint an Attorney General who was interested in holding the biggest criminal and traitor in the history of America to account. And that's Biden's legacy, that after Merrick Garland, even after 6 months of Merrick Garland not appointing a special counsel, Biden should have just fired him and appointed a bulldog. Biden should have had a conversation with his Attorney General and said, I'm looking for an Attorney General who is going to go after every single person involved in January the 6th, no matter how powerful they are or what position they have held in government. Are you the person for the job? And the Attorney General would say yes. Now, that's not instructing the Attorney General to go after Donald Trump. There shouldn't be anything wrong with that, because he's so obviously a criminal and the evidence of his crimes is he committed in broad daylight on camera. But nevertheless, Biden should have had that conversation. He failed. Merrick Garland is the weakest, most pathetic excuse for a human being ever to be in the office of Attorney General under the Democrats. His abject failure to get Trump prosecuted for January 6th and the documents cases way before the 2024 election is a huge stain on his career. So he has now, that's his legacy. This is Biden's legacy. And this is the legacy of the Democrats. Now, I would just like to make clear that I don't blame the Democrats for this. I'm just saying this is their legacy. The people to actually blame for this are, of course, primarily the Republicans. But the Democrats assisted them by being so weak on prosecuting Trump. They didn't anticipate that this could happen. If they had, I think they might have been stronger. But I know the Republicans, in a role reversal, they would have gone after Trump on day one. They would have appointed an Attorney General who would have appointed a special counsel on the 21st of January 2021. That's what should have happened. But it didn't. So the Democrats failed to hold a traitor, a criminal, a serial rapist. I mean, he was all of these things even before he went into the White House, but failed to hold him to account, and that's their legacy now. But of course, it's actually Trump himself and the Republicans who are to blame for what happened. Propped up by the propaganda networks of Fox News and, Newsmax and whoever else. And all the liars on YouTube, on the right. And the mainstream media is hugely complicit in this, especially CNN. I don't really know about NBC and CBS, but the failure of CNN has been incredible. Absolutely, seen the downfall of that channel. I'm glad that Don Lemon's not there anymore. He's better off on YouTube building his brand. I think he'll become very powerful, a very powerful voice in the coming years, like he was on cable, but he's going to have a bigger audience eventually. It takes time. I'm glad he's not there anymore, because that network has completely failed. The New York Times completely failed. The Washington Post. All these well-respected journalistic institutions, they just didn't hold Trump to account. They just weren't willing to say the truth. This guy's a criminal. He's unfit. His conduct is disqualifying. His clear lack of knowledge is disqualifying. His narcissism and the way he can be so easily manipulated through flattery is disqualifying. And we're not going to go through like literally hundreds of acts that he did, official acts in the White House that were disqualifying as well. But, apart from anything else, surely a coup, an insurrection, a violent attack on the Capitol should have been disqualifying, but it wasn't. It wasn't. And then, of course, the Supreme Court has now ruled that he's above the law. Not just Trump, any president, but only a Republican president will abuse that. The Democrats won't, because they believe in democracy. I understand that. I'm not sure if I was Biden, if I wouldn't take some action now and call it an official act and see what happens before January the 20th. Such as perhaps arresting Trump, I don't know. But I think, in the end, in a way, this is for the best. Because this is what the majority of the American people want. Or rather, I should say, a minority want this, and then there's a large portion of the country that doesn't give a shit and is happy to just let whatever happens, and they think that their democracy is bulletproof and they can't lose it and they can't descend into fascism. So that majority, the fascist minority plus the silent portion of the population which makes up the majority, they have decided that Trump's their guy. Okay. So like I said, no matter who the Democrats won, they were going to pick Trump. Because the problem here is that the South have never gotten over losing the Civil War. The winners of the Civil War were not willing to execute the traitors. They just let them go home, teach their children to hate black people and want slavery back, and they taught their children and they taught their children, and so on and so forth, until we get to 2021 and the Confederate flag makes it into the US Capitol for the first time in history, along with Trump flags and all kinds of other crazy shit that they used to beat the police officers with, and the Capitol Police. So, because America has chosen never to have a reckoning over its foundation on genocide and building itself up through slavery, we are here. And the fascists want a dictatorship. They don't understand what that actually means. They don't appreciate their freedom. And after 200 plus years, 240, whatever it is now, they're never going to learn. They're never going to learn through education. The only way they can learn and understand what it means to lose your democracy is to actually go through that experience, in my opinion. And my mistake in this election, as a Brit who no one really gives a crap what I have to think or say, and I didn't have my platform anymore on Twitter, I just had a couple of people in my life who are American who I encouraged to get in the fight. That's all I could do, really, or all I felt I could do. But I still believed in America, and I kept myself informed, and I watched a lot of videos and kept myself abreast of what was happening, and I believed in America. But I don't believe in America anymore, because now America has proven beyond any doubt, collectively, as a country, that it's the whole thing has been gaslighting all this time. America has never really tried to aspire to the ideals in the Constitution. It is rotten to the core. It is a sick country where there are a majority of people who either actively want to roll everything back all the way to slavery. In fact, all the way back to genocide, because they would like to exterminate certain members of the certain groups in the population. They would love to just wipe out the Hispanics if they could. I mean, once they realised they wouldn't have a slave labour force, they'd probably end up keeping some of them alive as slaves. But this is what many, many white people in America want. And then there's so many more people of all ethnicities and nationalities, former nationalities, whatever. They were born in America, but their parents came from wherever. These people just don't give a crap. They just don't care. They don't care. They're just not bothered. They're just going on about their daily lives, ignoring the pain and suffering of everybody else in their country. Because they're basically sociopaths. So, America, in fact, is a fascist country. It's not a democratic country anymore. Now they've elected Trump. They have already descended into fascism. The descent has begun. This was a very flawed election when you look at all the stuff the Republicans did to try to suppress the vote. Then when you look at the amount of disinformation that's actually propagated by the Republican Party now, and senators and members of the House, politicians, as well as the media and these YouTuber liars who are making a lot of money, lying to the American people, insulting their intelligence. Well, it's not an insult though, is it? When you don't actually have any intelligence and you really are dumb as shit, which the majority of American people are. The dumbest, most entitled, most willfully ignorant, arrogant people on the face of this planet. That's the majority of Americans. I can see this now. My eyes are open. So my position is this. I will be encouraging and supporting people like Gavin Newsom and I want to say JB Pritzker. I don't know if I've mangled his name there, but I just saw him today making very strong statements. I support the blue states in becoming sanctuary states during this fascism and resisting the fascism. I cheer that. And I cheer on every American who wants to fight against the fascism. But I am rooting for the destruction of America from within. I am rooting now for America to destroy itself and to get what it's been asking for all this time. Because I don't see any other way that the descendants of the slavers, the traitors in the Confederacy, I don't see any other way they're going to learn that what they're doing is never gonna work ultimately, so far in history, unless we wipe ourselves out, morality and decency has triumphed over depravity and evil. But America has been parading around saying they're the greatest country in the world and they're the greatest democracy. Well, they're not. They're a massively flawed democracy. And they are a garbage shithole country on almost every measure you can look at. They are the most militarily powerful country in the world, and they're the richest country in the world. But in terms of morals of the average American, the majority of Americans, they're sick people. Just look at the leading cause of death of children being from gun violence. Just look at how they fight against having healthcare as a human right, or giving women control over their own bodies, and trusting women and doctors to make decisions about healthcare. These things are so basic, and they just don't want it. So many of them just don't want it. Or maybe they do want it and they're not willing to fight for it. It's the same thing at the end of the day. It's the same thing. Whether you want something or you don't want something. If you don't fight for what's right, then you are by default on the side of the evil people who are trying to take that away or destroy something. If you don't stand up and actually resist it, you're working for the people to destroy it. So, if I lived in America, I would be fighting against the fascist Trump regime. But I don't. And I don't have a say in this. I don't have a voice that anyone gives a crap to listen to. But I gotta get this out off my chest. I gotta get this out of my system. So I'm rooting for America to go down in flames, in the hope that the strong blue state governors and legislative bodies in America can hold on to enough of the good stuff so that when America does destroy itself, from the ashes can rise the nation that America was actually supposed to be in the first place. But because they never had the reckoning and admitted what we did was a horrific crime against humanity, the genocide of the Native Americans, and then the slavery. And I understand in Britain, yeah, sure, we did a lot of genocide and slavery too in our history. I'm not saying we're perfect. But what I'm saying is, in America, it's unique that there is such a large proportion of the population who just are the descendants of Confederate traitors and slavers who have just been fighting to let anyone else have any rights for the last 200 and however many years. I will have to educate myself, I suppose, if I'm going to make more of these videos. And listen, I think it's 248, but I'm not sure. It's around that. I probably still know a shitload more about American history than the average ignorant American, but still, I need to learn more, and I admit that. And I'm not saying my country's great either. It's not. We have many, many problems, but we don't have the problem that half of our population wants to take us all the way back to slavery and genocide. We don't have that problem in my country. We also don't have the problem yet, although we got close. We're getting closer. Thank you, America, for lowering the bar and setting that tone and setting that example. Our conservative government, who are the equivalent of our Republicans, politically, in the pure sense, not in the sense they haven't got anywhere near so crazy as the Republicans in America, but they become a bunch of liars and demagogues. And we voted them out in massive numbers, and we said we don't want this crap. We just want a normal political party who's going to try and run the country well. And we voted in our Democrats, who are called the Labour Party. They are the main party on the left in our country. I'm not saying my country is the greatest country in the world or anything close. So you can come and attack my country if you want. That's fine. If I think your criticism is valid, I'll accept it. I called this channel Rebrutal because I plan on this channel to rebut all the lies and bullshit in the world. And I don't plan to hold back, even though I can't swear as much as I would like. I don't plan to hold back. So, yeah. I will have to moderate my language, I guess, without swearing too much, but I will never forgive America for what they did. What they did this week. I will never forgive America. I will never forget. America is now the greatest enemy to my country, my freedom, my way of life. America is. You are our enemy, America, not our friend. Our government's going to kiss your ass and kiss Trump's ass, because that's what you have to do in politics. Not that I would do that if I was the Prime Minister. I would do it very, very differently. But that's what they're going to have to do. But I don't have to kiss America's ass or Trump's ass. You guys can kiss my ass, as far as I'm concerned. And I am now rooting for the destruction of your country, and I hope it comes as quickly as possible. And I hope Trump puts in even worse tariffs than he said he's going to put in, and I hope he deports even more people than he said he's going to deport. And I hope he tanks your economy this 2025 and gets as much damage done as possible before they use the 25th Amendment to remove him and put in J.D. Vance, who won't do all the crazy shit that Trump will do. He will just be a puppet for the billionaires who installed him. And the oligarchs of your country, the corrupt billionaire class, epitomized best by Elon Musk out in the open, but I'm sure there's some behind the scenes who I don't know about who epitomize them even better. The quiet ones who don't want to be on stage jumping around like a dumb fuck. They're going to be running your country. And you let them do it. You let them do it. That's what you voted for, America. Everybody who stayed home, everybody who protest voted, and everybody who voted for Trump, everybody who was not actively campaigning for Kamala and the truth, that's the majority of Americans, This is what you asked for. Now you sowed it. You're going to reap it. And I'm going to enjoy watching your country destroy itself. I'm going to enjoy it. And everything that everybody who voted for Trump asked for, I'm going to enjoy watching them receive it. What I will not enjoy is watching all the innocent Americans who are fighting for freedom and the ideals of their country, who voted for Kamala, and they want the better thing. I won't enjoy watching them suffer. That's why I'm just going to focus on watching the bad people and karma catching up with them and their own decisions, voting against their own interests, and then realizing, oh, whoops, I just screwed myself. That's the part I'm going to enjoy. Simultaneously, I will be supporting everyone who wants to fight against this fascism. I know it sounds kind of weird. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do both. I'm going to be on both sides of this. I'm going to support the people fighting, but I'm going to be rooting for the bad guys to destroy your country, because I believe it's the only way the really bad people in your country are going to understand the way what they want they can't get. You can't put in a dictator that you can control and who can dictate just the right amount to your liking. You can't do it. Hating other people because you hate yourself is not going to do anything. It's not the answer. It's not going to help you or get you anywhere in life. I hate the people who hate other protected groups. Those are the people who I hate. They're the spoilers. I hate fascists. I hate the people who choose a certain ideology. I don't hate anyone for how they were born. I just hate the people who choose to be hateful. That's who I choose to hate. And I don't hate them because I hate myself. I just hate them because they are ruining what otherwise could be quite a nice planet. If we really started to all work together and come together and understand that, in fact, there's no reason why anybody has to be marginalized or left out with the abundance of wealth, of resources and knowledge and energy and bodies we have available to us as a species. But we're a very, very long way from learning that lesson or having that. So I'm rooting for the destruction of America so the true America can rise like a phoenix from the ashes. Simultaneously, I am going to cheer on the people fighting against the fascism because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the blue line can hold. Maybe there's enough people in America who either are going to fight this as hard as they can or are going to become activated by this, and they don't have to learn the hard way. Fine. Okay. I can live with that as an outcome. But I don't think that would ever really fix it. I think you guys, you need to destroy yourselves so you can understand that you never had what you've been gaslighting the world and yourselves. You never had it. You never had what you said you're going to have. You never got close to any of the ideals in your constitution. You're never going to get there incrementally. This incremental progress is bullshit. Because while over half the country is either actively obstructing the progress or doesn't care whether there's progress or not, you're never going to get anywhere. So like I say, let's just get this over with. Let's just let Trump and the Republicans do what the hell they want. Put all their sick policies in, ruin the country, crash the economy, take you guys into a depression, start wars, maybe have a civil war, I don't know about that. And just generally ruin America and really let everyone see how bad it can get. And then maybe America can start moving forwards again. And actually become the free leader of the world. But right now, they are not. And someone said the other day that Zelensky's become the leader of the free world. I can't remember who I saw say that. And I agree. Volodymyr Zelensky is now the leader of the free world. I certainly wouldn't claim my country to be the leader of the free world. But if we think about who's fighting the hardest against fascism, authoritarianism, war crimes, murder, mayhem and mass destruction, who's fighting against everything that is the opposite of democracy and freedom, it's Zelensky. So yeah, he's the leader of the free world now. Not you, America. You never were. The whole thing was a lie. We see it now. The mask, or should I say the hood, has been ripped off. And I see you now for who you are, America, who you really are. And I think this sick, rotten America needs to be destroyed. And as you're the most powerful country in the world, the only way that can happen is if you destroy yourselves. So go ahead, destroy yourselves, get it done. And let's hope that enough good people in your country survive so that the phoenix can rise from the ashes and you can learn the lessons that history will have taught you and finally, actually start to live the ideals that you claim to hold so dear.